Doddy builds, Doddy builds. Right, part 3, and I'm going crazy, obviously. Up first is my Yeetus Deletus build. It is a mortar build. It is not finished because I can't get that bloody full yellow perfect glass cannon chest piece. So the Gruppo pieces will stay the same. The probably should get skill haste in there, so status effect on the holster. The chest needs to change to perfect glass cannon, and the knees will need to change to wyvern, or at least that's what I'm going for. This works perfectly fine for now. It's okay. Perfectly skilled does have some decent uptime on this, however it mostly really works solo up to heroic. I have used this on legendary in a group. It does not perform in terms of a mortar damage build. It performs better at a keep things from hunkering down and spamming you with drones and nades in that sense. But yeah, it can work in groups. Well, it does work in groups, but nowhere near just as effective. And it can go on to legendary, but you end up lacking a lot in terms of damage. Mortar builds are just fun. It's the only reason I actually have one. I don't really play it that often. It's not really my thing, but they are fun. They are very much different. It is also very funny just to see this slow impending missile just cascade towards an enemy. It tickles me because I'm a sick, twisted bastard. That's basically it. The overall effect of mortar builds, especially if you can get one maxed out, is actually pretty damn powerful. They do some serious unga bunga damage, though, like I said, they are slow. For all of their uptime and performance that they are able to get out of utilizing a mortar with Seekers, they are just slow. There are certain little tricks that you can utilize with your mortar to try and keep it a bit quicker. First one being, don't fire more than 4 shots. For some weird reason, when you're at skill tier 6, if you fire more than 4 shots and pick the mortar up, you end up with like a 20-second cooldown. If you fire under 4 shots, the most you really get is a 3-second cooldown, which means you can pick up and reposition your mortar. It also refreshes all of the bullets. Yeah, it's just weird. Just try not to fire more than 4 shots. It's that simple. Utilizing Seekers with it is either a blessing or a curse, depending on how the Seekers end up performing. You can either channel enemies into a certain area so that you're able to get your big hits in with the mortar, or you end up just scattering everything. So now rather than hitting 2, 3, 4, 5 X amount of enemies per mortar, you end up having to sort of pick them off one at a time. Mortars, because they're explosive, as well as Seekers, for the same reasoning, really do struggle against Chungers. It's quite fun on one side and / easy, simply just because every time you hit them with the mortar, they will stagger, even in legendary, which means you can get some pretty hefty damage on them. The problem is all of your damage is essentially divided by 6. I'm aware it will still give you a big shiny number of X million, and you will be hitting that. The problem is your explosive damage is then divided up evenly among all of the armor plates. They have 2 leg plates, 2 arm plates, the body plate, and the head. So if you hit them for, we're just going to go with nice easy 6 million damage, you have done 1 million damage to each of their plates. And 4-man scaling legendary Chungers have like 22 million health per plate. So you will need to hit them over 22 times with a mortar to break them on 4-man legendary scaling. It gets very annoying. On the plus side to all of this, you get to see what a naked Chunger looks like, and it is kind of hilarious. They are some absolute big boys, and that's really about it. The same thing does also kind of happen with Warhounds. They have 3 plates, 1 either side, and then 1 sort of like on front / on top. If you are able to get a direct hit with the mortar, literally land it on their head, it can go through to their direct health depending on where you hit. But other than that, yeah, armor plating. If you also manage to somehow get the mortar to land under them, you will also go straight to health. Next build, I named this Lazy Cheese. I am still looking for a better chest piece for this, but Unbreakable seems to be working fine. 4-piece Hunter's Fury, all rolled to critical hit damage. I am rocking a Scorpio just because it is going to be my main weapon. I have a unicorn, the setup, just for perfectly opportunistic, which will amplify the damage I do to enemies hit by a shotgun by 15%. Adding in what Scorpio is able to do, the multipliers itself from Hunter's Fury, along with just the 10% from Badger Tough. This build is actually pretty damn survivable. I'm able to do some absolutely dumb things, stand in really awkward situations, and just unga bunga my way out of it, either through the armor refresh from perfectly unbreakable, because I am using 0Fs, or just getting the 20% armor on kill from Hunter's Fury itself. I'm also able to burn down individual enemies pretty quickly due to opportunistic and with Scorpio, as they will give me 2 separate multipliers. This build does work well in a group. The annoying thing is you are going to need to get pretty damn close because you are running a shotgun build. In terms of legendary, it performs okay. Your issue is, again, getting close to utilize a shotgun. The main reason it just performs well in legendary is simply just because Scorpio, along with a lot of damage, which means we're able to just absolutely single out certain enemies and just be like, okay, you are going to die now. Provided you're able to maintain some form of cover or utilizing your shield so that you can get your 3 shots on them to proc the disorient, which will then allow you to do more damage. Other than that, it's not really that useful. The most useful thing about this on legendary is just going to be perfect opportunistic. That is about it, simply just because it does act as a team buff, which will allow you and your teams to do 15% more damage to the enemies affected by it. This build is aptly named Lazy Cheese because it is just pure lazy and cheesy, simply just because all of the CC you're able to gain from running a full red, well, nearly full red DPS build with this. You can CC individual targets with Scorpio, and if you're able to trap spawns or if there's anything else nearby, Hunter's Fury will take care of it, simply just because of the group disorient that Hunter's Fury has on kill. From there, you just reload, reposition, pick your next target, and away you go. 8% armor on kill is the real lifesaver with this build. It basically allows you to just chew through most things and not care about taking damage, simply just because you can heal through it. Up next, we have a build I like to call Reggie my boy. I run a White Death for long range, a artist tool for the absolute memes, but the main weapon here is obviously Regulus. Punch Drunk Mask for the pistol damage as well as the headshot, the gift backpack rolled to headshot weapon handling, Chain Killer, which allows me to essentially chain kill. I'm running Walker and Harris gloves just for the 5% damage to armor, but it also offers me another 8% weapon handling roll. Fox's Prayer for the damage to targets out of cover, as well as Dodge City Holster. This build literally is just Dodge City Holster, Chain Killer, Regulus. Long as you essentially have those 3 pieces and you can hit heads, this build is just GG. I like running Gunner with this build simply just because of the 10% armor on kill. I am playing solo. This one is designed for solo. If I wanted to take it into a group, I have the exact same build on my group character, but rather than running 2-piece Walker and Harris, I have Chain Killer and Contractor's Gloves for more damage to armor. This gives me about 1.2% more damage, which you do feel on group scaling. It can also perform pretty damn well in legendary, but you will need to be on point, simply just because if you miss a headshot, you are dead. This is actually pretty damn similar to one of the builds we do utilize in running legendary DUA. It is just a Hunter's Fury variant of this build, which allows us to get a little bit of CC and 20% armor on kill, therefore allowing us to use the Firewall specialization for the Firewall shield, which has another amplifier on it for even more damage. This build, along with a few other variants of it, such as running the Contractor's Gloves or the Hunter's Fury variant, are considered to be some of the best endgame builds, and when people generally say meta in this game, it is this build that they are typically or should be referring to, or variants of this build, simply just because the actual meta at the moment is Regulus Chainkiller. It is that powerful. Yes, I'm aware Determined is a thing, but Determined can't compete with the explosion damage with Regulus. Regulus is just going to be that much more powerful. And as long as you're able to hit your headshots, it is also quicker, especially if you spawn trap, simply just because one bullet can kill more than one enemy. Last on this list is Strike 4, which is my Striker's Elmo build, 4-piece Strikers, Seska chest with Obliterate, Coyote's Mask, 58% crit chance, 161% critical hit damage. This is the current best in slot build for Strikers sent Elmo, though it does not and cannot compete with other Striker variations that utilize things like Perfect Glass Cannon, Perfect Focus, or even a FAMAS with a decent damage talent on it. Yes, it is very powerful. Yes, it will serve you well. It performs beautifully in both group as well as solo, and it has done me absolutely proud in legendary missions as well, both again solo and in a group. It is very powerful. It is not changing the meta. It is not OP. It is, however, a rather interesting side grade to a lot of the best in slot DPS builds, and the main thing I actually like about it is I'm seeing a lot more of the casual community that love putting in blue cores now finally going, oh yes, St. Elmo's with 6 red cores, it shreds. So I'm glad at least we're getting that message across. We're also able to build into the magazine, or we're able to build into the handling, allowing the weapon to be pretty damn versatile under a multitude of different situations. The shock talent on it is nowhere near as powerful as a lot of people think, minus of course except in PvP. I back this weapon up utilizing the Tsunami simply just because of where we're using Strikers. We're able to make absolutely epic use of shotguns. Tsunami for perfect pummel means after 2 kills I refill the magazine, and adding in Strikers means that we're able to do some hefty damage with it, which essentially means that I have infinite ammo on a shotgun. Of course it does mean we have to be pretty damn close. However, running solo, this isn't a problem. It's not something I tend to do in groups unless something sneaks up on me. 1, shotgun does unga bunga damage. 2, helps me build up stacks a little bit quicker. I don't really rate the ACS 12 for this sort of situation. Going for something that would give you less stacks but always hit harder, such as the Super 90, M870, or even the Tsunami like I'm using, will generally perform a lot better under these circumstances, simply just because you're more likely to actually get a kill. Now, if you are wanting to go for the absolute stack building monster, you are not actually better off with rock and roll. You're better off with an ACS 12 with pummel on it, simply just because once you have enough stacks you can then start killing with it, and if you get enough kills with it you essentially will refill the magazine, which will completely outperform an extra 10 rounds. We could also potentially, if you do feel like running a bit more of a side grade, you could put Technician on here for Flatline. This will also outperform Rock and Roll. Anyway, that is going to be it for this video. I've got one more of these for my solo character, but in the meantime, have fun, good luck, don't die, it's bad for the health.